Refraction of light part 4. Refraction at spherical surfaces. That we are going to discuss. So first of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of the spherical refracting surfaces. A surface which separates two media of different refractive indices is called the refracting surfaces. It may be concave or the convex, right? Now this, I have drawn the diagram. This is the concave surface. This surface is your concave surface. Concave spherical surface. And this is your convex spherical surface. The different points you should have to remember. P is the pole of that refracting surface, that you know earlier also in class 10, that this pole is the midpoint of the spherical refracting surface. Midpoint of the spherical refracting surface. See, center of curvature is the center of the sphere. Center of the sphere of which curves refracting surface is a part of. Right? Now radius of curvature, the radius of that sphere, this is a part of the sphere. If we are going to take it, this is just like a sphere. So the radius means from the pole to center. That is the radius of curvature. Another point is the principal axis. The line or the axis joining P and C is the principal axis. This is what principal axis. Principal axis. Right? Simple. And the last part, that is your aperture. What is the meaning of this aperture? Aperture is the effective diameter of the refracting surface, spherical surface, exposed to the incident light. Exposed to the incident light. So this is the exposed part. So we can say this is the aperture. Means another way we can say the total refracting surface. Total refracting surface is the aperture of the spherical surface. Same thing is here also. Spherical surface is like a concave. If we are talking about a concave, this is the dipped part. This is the concave. Here the pole and this center of curvature. And in fact here the material is not there. I have taken a simple plastic bowl. So if the material is there, then we have to say this is a thick reflecting surface. So only to show the concave and convex, this is the concave part and this is your convex part. This diagram is like that and this diagram is like that. Concave and convex. Refraction occurs from here in case of convex, and here reflection occurs from this particular part. Okay. Now the new Cartesian sign convention, that more or less the same which you had already gone through in class 10. All the distances should be measured from pole of the reflecting surface, number 1, from all distances from the pole. Number 2, the distance measured along the direction of the incident ray taken as positive. Distance is positive means along. And distance is measured against the direction of the or opposite the direction of the incident ray taken as negative. Opposite to the distance measured against or opposite to the direction of the incident ray is taken as negative. And above the principal axis, taken as positive, and below the principal axis taken as negative. Height or something is there. That is a very simple new Cartesian sign convention. Now our purpose, these are the fundamental of the refractions at spherical surfaces. Our purpose is to establish the relation. Relation means a formula, and for that we have to assume something. Now come on to the point, what are the assumptions? I am telling that the assumptions are First one is that the aperture of the spherical surfaces should be small. This aperture should be very, very small. These are the assumptions which are important for derivation. Number two, second assumption is that object is a point object and lies on the principal axis. Object we have to take like here, just to see if we have to take the point object and then the ray is incident on the reflecting surface, like that. Point object we have to take. So object is should be the point object and lies on the principal axis. Third assumption is that the incident ray, refracted ray, and the normal to the spherical surface or surfaces makes a small angles with the principal axis. Like here, this is the object we have taken here. This angle should with the principal axis should be very, very small. Say this angle is theta, so that theta should be very small. Or the normal drawn here, say the normal is there. Normal also makes a very small angle, say the theta 1, like that. All the angles. So the angles made by the incident ray, reflected ray, and normal to the spherical surfaces makes a very small angle with the principal axis. These are the assumptions, and on the basis of these assumptions, we have to derive the expressions or the formula. The refraction at spherical surfaces will continue, and very important relationship we are going to establish between the object distance, image distance, radius of curvature, and refractive indices of the medium of a convex spherical surfaces when refraction takes place from rarer medium to denser medium, and image formed is real and virtual in the different cases. Case number 1, real image. Just see the diagram first. Here I have taken convex spherical convex reflecting surface. This, according to the assumption also, we have take the point object on the principal axis. Here the principal axis is there, xy. On the principal axis, a small angle is subtended by the object. Here the point object. That is the assumption. So when a ray is passing or incident on the reflecting surface at point A, then it is going from mu1 to mu2, means the rarer medium to denser medium, so it bends toward the normal. This is the normal. At point A, if we are going to draw the normal, that will pass through the center of curvature of this surface. See, and this ray is going to bend towards the normal. And final, here one ray is passing directly and both the rays are meeting here. So that is the image formation at point I. I is the image formation. Angle subtended by the object with the principal axis is alpha, and image is forming an angle beta, and the center of curvature, the line joining the center of curvature and the point of incidence, that means normal, is making an angle, small angle gamma. We are going to drop the perpendicular from A onto the principal axis AN. I is the angle of incidence, R is the angle of refraction. Right? All things are clear. Mu1 is the refractive index of the rarer medium and mu2 is the refractive index of the denser medium. Now our purpose is to draw the diagram, or establish the relation. After drawing the diagram, establish the relation. So in this diagram, this is the object. So object distance is u and image distance is v, and r is the radius of curvature, p is the pole. Now how to find this particular relation? Step 1. First, to find I and R from the geometry of the diagram. Angle I and angle R. So how to find this angle I and angle R? First we have to see where is the angle I and where is the angle R. This is I and this is the R. So if we are talking about this particular triangle A, O and C, just to see, AOC in right angle in the triangle, not right angle, AOC, angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma? Say yes or no. Angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. You have already gone through the exterior angle theorem in the junior classes. Angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. So in triangle OAC, we have to write angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. We can write the only I. No problem is there. Angle I is equal to. So from exterior angle theorem, exterior angle theorem, this is number 1, right? Now step 2, step 1, in the step 1 we have to find I and then R. How to find this R? Just to see, here the R is the angle of reflection. If you are talking about this triangle ACI, then what happens? Gamma is equal to alpha R plus beta. So we have to write in triangle CAI, we can write gamma is equal to R plus beta. So R, we have to find out R is equal to gamma minus beta. Give it equation number 2. This is equation 1 and equation 2. This is the step 1. Now after finding the value of I and R, step 2 then comes to the step 2. What we have to do, applying Snell's law. What we are going to apply? Snell's law. Snell's law, that is sin I by sin R is equal to mu2 by mu1. Right? Mu2 by mu1, that we know. And if angle I and R are small, we according to the assumption also these are small, then sin I becomes I, sin I becomes only I, and sin R becomes only R. So we can write this equation in this way: I by R is equal to mu2 by mu1, or cross multiply mu1 I is equal to mu2 R. Equation number 3. Now put the value of I and R. Mu1, the value of I is alpha plus gamma, and value of R is gamma minus beta. Right? Now in this equation we have to find the alpha, gamma and beta. It's a value. Just see the diagram. Diagram again. Alpha, we can write the alpha for the small, we know alpha, beta, gamma are small angle, so we can write it alpha is equal to P by B, means alpha is equal to, we can write AN by ON, AN by ON. How it comes? Simple logic is there. If we are going to find the tan theta of the small angle, tan theta, if tan theta is equal to P by B, if theta is small, tan theta becomes theta, P by B. Simple logic is there. So alpha is equal to AN by ON, right? Similarly, beta is equal to AN by NI, AN by NI. We can write beta is equal to AN by NI, and gamma is equal to AN by NC, AN by NC. Right? Now put its value of alpha, beta and gamma. in this equation number 4. So mu1, in place of alpha we are writing En by On plus gamma. Gamma is equal to An by Nc is equal to mu2 gamma is An by Nc minus beta An by Ni. So what we are seeing here, An in the numerator, it's a common on the both sides, so we can remove it. So ultimately mu1 1 by On plus 1 by Nc is equal to mu2 1 by Nc minus 1 by Ni. That is equation number 5. Now just to see, for the one more assumption is there, the aperture should be small. If the aperture is small, so n is very close to p. N point is very close to p. So we can replace n by p. For small aperture, point n is very close to p. So we can write it mu1 in place of On we are writing OP plus 1 by n place of NC we are writing PC mu2 1 by PC minus 1 by Pi. Right? Now after doing it, then we have to apply the sign convention. Applying sign convention. Sign convention, we know what is the value, what is OP. OP is U. Direction of incident ray is this, so definitely all the distances should be measured from P. So it is U is negative. So in place of OP we can write the minus U. Then comes to PC. PC, it is along the direction of the incident ray, so taken as positive. PC is your plus R. PC is your plus R. PC, radius of curvature. Then comes the PC, we have written PI. PI, the image is here, image distance. It is, we have to measure from P to I, so it is along the direction of the incident ray, so taken as positive. We put this value in this equation. So we will get mu1 1 by OP is your minus U plus 1 by PC means plus R is equal to mu2 1 by PC means plus R minus 1 by Pi means plus V. Now arrange. After arranging, what we are getting? Minus mu1 by U plus mu1 by R is equal to mu2 by R minus mu2 by V. Now just what we are seeing, that here the R are common. Now common means denominator in these two terms are same. So what is the way how we are going to write it? We can write minus mu1 by U plus mu2 by v is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. How we have written? Just arrange it. Mu1 by u plus mu2 by v. This we have taken this way, and then this on the right hand side mu2 minus mu1 by r. This is a relation which we are seeking. Very important relation. That is for the real image formation. Now the virtual image formation is there. See the diagram. Convex reflecting surface. Here the point object, which is near to the pole. A ray of light enters in, and this is the normal. It bends towards the normal, like that. And if we are going to trace it back, here the virtual image is formed. So alpha, beta, gamma. Always remember alpha for the object, angle subtended by the object, beta, angle subtended by the image, and gamma, angle subtended by center of curvature, or the line joining center of curvature, or we can say the normal. Mu1 is the refractive index of the rarer medium, mu2 is the refractive index of the denser medium. So the virtual image is formed here. So again, our purpose is to find the relationship. Now, step 1, same steps or the technique is there to find I and R using the exterior angle theorem. So I, for finding I in triangle AOC, just see AOC, angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. It is better to write only I, because it is easier. I is equal to alpha plus gamma. That is number 1. Similarly, in triangle, for finding the R, if we are finding the I for R, this one triangle IAC. In triangle IAC, angle R is equal to beta plus gamma, right? We have used the exterior angle property theorem. Exterior angle property, which we had already gone through. That is the first step, which we have done in the real image also. Now, applying the Snell's law, sin I by sin R is equal to mu2 by mu1 for the small angle, which we have done. Sin I becomes I, and sin R becomes R. So cross multiply, we can write I mu1 is equal to R mu2. Now put this value. Same process, same method is there. If you are putting mu1 into I, in place of I, alpha plus gamma is equal to mu2, here it is R, beta plus gamma. Now, as I told you, we have dropped a perpendicular AN. So again, in case of the which we have done in the last class, last topic also, theta is equal to P by B. The same process we have to adopt here. Tan theta becomes theta when the angle is small. So mu1 is equal to, in place of alpha, I am going to write AN by ON, plus in place of gamma I am writing AN by NC is equal to mu2 beta, in place of beta AN by IN, in place of beta AN by IN, plus in place of gamma AN by NC. En common, it cancel out. So mu1 1 by On plus 1 by Nc is equal to mu2 1 by In plus 1 by Nc. Sign convention. Here On, that particular distance we have take, it is against the direction of the incident ray. So however, before coming on to the sign convention, it is better to apply this for the small aperture. Sign convention we have to apply later on. So for small aperture, better is to write n becomes p. So mu1 1 by OP plus 1 by PC is equal to mu2 1 by IP plus 1 by PC. Now apply the sign convention. Sign convention. OP, in place of OP, we are going to write the minus 1 by minus U. OP is minus U plus PC. PC positive along the direction of the incident ray. So 1 by R is equal to mu2 1 by IP image distance, which is against, because all distances should be taken from the P. So 1 by minus V plus PC positive 1 by R. Then arrange. After arranging, what we are getting, minus mu1 by U plus mu1 by R is equal to minus mu2 by V plus mu2 by R. So if you are taking it on that side and this on this side, so minus mu1 by U, this comes here, plus mu2 by V is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by R. That is the relation. And interesting, we are getting the same relation, same as we got in case of the real image, same relation. So irrespective of the where the image is formed, or the irrespective of the taking the surface, in fact reflecting surface, if the object is in the rarer medium, we are getting the same. That's interesting. Maybe the image is real or the virtual. Okay.